Can I be heard? Hello, Gemma. Please? Hang on. Input. Rejoice! Your lass can be heard. Fantastic. Rejoice, comrades. That one black guy. Hello, that one black guy. Everyone, go and follow that one black guy. I will get my shout outs fixed. I will do my main ones. You're probably not going to like this. Oh, what am I doing? Hello. Give me a second. Another black man. After. Ta-da! I will do the same for you. That one black guy. Or T1. Rejoice, shall we get into this? So these are the constituency profiles for the Scottish, the Holyrood elections. So this is a constituency. This is voted in by first past the post. And this one is about Ayr, a lovely place that my sister used to live in. Ayr is lovely. If you ever come to Scotland, try and visit Ayr. It is nice. Do not go swimming in the water. It is fucking cold. There we go. Holyrood. Scottish politics galore. Oh dear God. That is a headline I do not like to read. Reform UK could be main threat to SNP in Ayr. Oh. This is Siobhan Brown, MSP for Ayr Prestwick and Troon. I guess it is because, yeah, well, it is part of the Atlantic, and in certain points during the year, the med side of it, warmer, because contained. The former Conservative MSP for Ayr, John Scott, has acclaimed to be considered the unluckiest candidate in the 2021 Holyrood election. You'll have to see it. Alright. Okay. My sister's been to Spain during the summer, so the 4 times that she's been, 3 times for her work being part of a trade union and once on holiday. You weren't impressed? Fair enough. Having previously won the constituency by an impressive 5 times in a row between 2000 by-election and 2016. Damn. He actually increased his vote in 2021 to a new record high of, fucking hell, 43.1. But still lost due to SNP's Siobhan Brown surging past him with 43.5. You'll love to see it. Although Tories were directly compensated for that defeat with a list seat they wouldn't otherwise have taken, pop-ups, fuck off. They wouldn't have otherwise have taken, that was of no help to Scott himself, who didn't have the safety net of being one of the Tory list candidates. Oh dear. Get wrecked, John Scott. Refreshment is needed. Mostly beach and nightclubs, I suspect that. Ooh, that might be an interesting story. To some extent, the SNP's achievement in taking the constituency for the first time can be explained by national factors, and in particular by the progressive swings from Labour to the SNP on a constituency ballot in every election from 2007 onwards. Yes. But that cannot fully account for the scale of Labour's collapse over time in Ayr. Well, they're collapsing everywhere because they fucking deserve to. They dropped from 38.1 in the first devolved election in 99 to just 11% in 2021. You'll have to see it. It makes me giggle. The likelihood is that the closeness of the Tories' margin of victory over the SNP in the constituency in both 2011 and 2016 was noticed by voters, leading to a locally concentrated squeeze on the Labour vote as people picked their favourite in what was perceived to be a two-horse race heading for a potential photo finish. Hello, Big Jerry. Good evening. Scottish politics galore. If that was indeed the case, it meant Labour were at the wrong end of the phenomenon that had previously benefited them in the late 80s and 90s. That is correct. When the Westminster version of the ARC was incredibly close fought between themselves and the Tories. Yeah. The constituency had somewhat different character in those days. However, it stretched much further inland and took in several villages like Dundonald and Simonton. I haven't been in Dundonald, I've been in Simonton. By contrast, the modern boundaries of the Holyrood Sea very tightly hug the narrow, heavily populated coastal strip between Barassie and the northern end of Robert Burns' birthplace of Alloway. Alloway is lovely. At the southern end. This is the, oh God, what's it called? This is basically the mall in Ayr. That means the chances of the Tories winning the seat or of the SNP stopping it have hinged to a large degree on straightforward number crunching about the volumes of voters at either end of the socio-economic extremes that exist within the built-up area. Parts of Ayr are very deprived, working class, former industrial town, a lot of said industry for that area. Got ruined. By who, do you think? In the 2022 elections, local elections, the Tory vote was just 20.5%. And the Ayr North Ward, which compared to 39.6 in Ayr West and 37.3 in Troon. But if anything, the underlying balance of power within the constituency may be even less favourable for the Tories than appearances suggest. That is quite accurate, actually. Because Scott's vote in the Holyrood constituency ballot has repeatedly outstripped the Tory regional list vote. Some of that differential may be caused by anti-SNP tactical voting, quite possibly. These things do happen. But a significant chunk of it looks like personal vote for Scott. Fair enough. With Scott having been succeeded as the Tory candidate by the list MSP, Sharon Dowie, his party now faces the potential double whammy of the loss of his personal vote and a catastrophic loss of support in line with national trends, because they are Tories and they deserve to be punished. At the ballot box, of course. The best chance of a Tory hold will be if Unionist voters defy those trends by sticking with the Tories in the hope of beating the SNP. We will find out. Don't you worry, your lass will be covering it. But that kind of single-minded tactical discipline looks like a big ask. Correct. Given that reform will also be targeting the seat. Bollocks. Indeed, YouGov MRP polling last year identified the partially overlapping Westminster constituency of Ayr, Carrick and Cumnock, kind of a big constituency for Westminster for reasons, ask the Boundary Commission, as one of the handful of Scottish seats that Reform were on track to win. Bollocks. Fucking hope not. Reform have the opportunity to prosper in the socio-economically mixed localities like Ayr because they transcend the divide. No, they're still Tories. They can target low-income voters with an immigrant-bashing message. Yeah. But can also attract at least some affluent Tories. The most likely outcome is that Brown will hold on for the SNP with a reduced vote share, courtesy of a unionist vote that is much more split than before. Yes, you have to remember the unionist vote is now, there's 4 parties vying for that unionist vote in different places here in Scotland. Hopefully, because of all the tactical voting that will happen on that end of the spectrum, that voting contingent, they'll all split their votes and the SNP will win lots of seats. Fingers crossed. But if she is run close again, don't be totally surprised if the leading challenge this time comes from Reform. Boo. Oh, here we go. We're back up in the north of Scotland. So this one, the Westminster seat, and also parts of the Holyrood one, Alex Salmond's the playground essentially. So this is Banffshire and Bucking Coast. Here we go. Refreshment. SNP Holyrood win could be under threat in Banff-and-Buchan. Oh look, it is Fraserburgh. Your lass has been there. Fishing town. Fraserburgh's lovely. If a bit chilly. You have to remember this is the North Sea. Shut up, Storm Deep. It's still very windy out there. Oh dear, I'm glad I put the heating on. It is currently 3 degrees Celsius. Ugh. Excuse me. The Holyrood seat of Banff and Bucking Coast covers much of the same ground as the Westminster constituency of Aberdeenshire North and Moray East, which was created for the 2024 general election and was the scene of a rather timely Tory implosion. Oh, don't you worry, I'm doing a couple of stories about the constituency profiles, then I'll be coming over. Warning for rain by about 3 AM my time, so in about 20 minutes to half an hour. If you're still going, my dear, don't worry, I'm not going to push myself. I've already done 4 hours with Andy tonight, so this was just giving some Scottish politics, because obviously there is an election happening. So I will be over shortly. How goes things, my dear, anyway, if you're still here? Right, I'll start again. The Holyrood seat of Banffshire and Bucking Coast covers much of the same ground as the Westminster constituency of Aberdeenshire North and Moray East, which was created for the 2024 general election, so it's a new constituency, and was the scene of a rather timely Tory implosion. The then Scottish Conservatives leader, Dross, yes, who was looking for a life raft to a post-Holyrood political future, took advantage of health issues being suffered by his party's local MP, David Duguid, and cynically installed himself as the Tory candidate in Duguid's place. So he was, at one point, he was an MSP, leader of the Scottish Tories, and an MP, which isn't allowed. Naughty Dave, naughty Douglas, naughty. Unsurprisingly, there was a backlash by voters against the treatment of a much-liked local representative, and the SNP gained the seat in a result that would have looked improbable weeks earlier. Defeating a sitting party leader sprinkled some glitter on an otherwise bitterly disappointing national election outcome for the SNP. They've always struggled up there. And thus a godsend for party morale. But in a strange way, the details of the result in Aberdeenshire North and Moray East were quite concerning for the SNP as they started to look ahead to this year's Holyrood battle. Yes. It had seemed obvious that Ross was in big trouble as soon as it became public knowledge that he had sold Do Good down the river. So what was startling was not so much the fact that Ross lost, but the fact that he nearly won. He was only 2.4 points behind the victorious SNP candidate Seamus Logan, leaving little room for doubt that there would have been a comfortable Tory hold if it hadn't been for unusual circumstances or Douglas Ross being an absolute fucking dickhead and total Egypt. Moreover, the Tories were furious about the impact of the 14.6% vote for Reform UK in the constituency. Rather concerning. Which was the highest for Manfrog's party anywhere in Scotland. Damn. It seemed likely that most of these votes would have otherwise gone to the Tories. Well, yeah, they would have. Yeah. Meaning Ross could potentially have won with a bit to spare even at the very moment he was being held in public disgrace. Reds went live. Oh damn, I said Shanna I'd be reading into her. The fact that SNP required the stars to be so perfectly aligned just to eke out the narrowest of victories in an area that in the late 80s and early 90s had been one of the very few heartlands anywhere in Scotland suggests an underlying weakness somewhere. Whoops. There had already been evidence of that at the 2019 general election, when the predecessor Tory held the seat of Banff and produced a small swing from the SNP to the Tories, in total defiance of a national SNP landslide. In 2021, Karen Adam narrowly retained the Holyrood seat of Banffshire and Bucking Coast for the SNP, perhaps demonstrating that the SNP still enjoy a home fixture bonus in Scottish Parliament elections. But the swing against her to the Tories was an enormous 10.4 points. To put that in context, across Scotland there was actually a modest swing from the Tories to the SNP in 2021. We did find out that used to be very unusual, but it's becoming a bit of a pattern now. It's like the people of Scotland are fed up with the Tories. Who'd have thunk it? That the constituency in both Westminster and Holyrood guises have been behaving so differently from the rest of Scotland can be partly explained by the special importance of the local fishing industry. Yes. Peterhead is the busiest fishing port anywhere in the UK. Correct. Sorry, Grimsby. Well, Fraserburgh is one of the principal European shellforce ports. Also correct. That ensured the damage caused by the common fisheries policy loomed much larger in local voters' minds at the time of the EU referendum than it did anywhere else in Scotland. The Westminster constituency of Banff and Buchan is estimated to have reduced Scotland's largest Leave vote share in the referendum at 54%. I get it, a lot of them were upset with the common fisheries policy. I understand. The seat was thus responsive in 2019 to Boris Johnson's message of "get Brexit done." In a way that other Scottish seats were not. Yeah, I get it. And given that there is a strong correlation between support for Brexit votes and for reform, Bamshire and Buchan Coast may now be the Holyrood constituency most vulnerable to reform. Yeah. What that means for Adam's chances of retaining the seat for the SNP is hard to say. Pretty much. There has been a modest boundary revision, bringing villages like Stricken and New Sligo into the constituency from the neighbouring seat of Aberdeenshire East. That is thought to have slightly reduced Adam's already modest cushion over the Tories in 2021 to around, 2.1 points. That's not much. Meaning in theory that the Tories could gain the seat on little more than a 1% swing. Fuck. The Tories had a lot of success in shoring up their vote in Aberdeenshire in the 2024 general election by convincing Unionist voters that they remained the only viable vehicle for stopping the SNP. Not necessarily true, but yeah, they do run on that message. Obviously, they are the Conservative and Unionist party, after all. The big question this year is whether the reform surge has now passed the tipping point at which the Tories will no longer sound credible in begging for tactical votes. Good point. Yeah. The dream scenario for Adam would be if the Unionist and Eurosceptic vote is split down the middle between the Tories and Reform. One can hope. That might play out better in other Holyrood constituencies. We will find out. And I'll say again, your lass is covering all of it. Permitting her to win on what may be a reduced vote share. I'll take that. Anything to keep out the Tories and Reform, please. Thank you. I don't want any Reform fucking idiots in Holyrood. Please, just fuck off. No. The nightmare for her would be if the Tory vote moves wholesale to Reform. Bollocks. Allowing Reform to seriously challenge for the seat themselves. Ugh. One thing is for sure, the SNP are very unlikely to hit John Swinney's self-imposed target of a single-party Holyrood overall majority unless they hold each and every one of the constituencies they already have. Pretty much. And that includes Bamshire and Buchan Coast. So just as they did in 2021 and 2024, they are simply going to have to find a way to win the seat somehow, even if it's once again only by a small number of votes. 1 or 2 or 3 points shift to the SNP. Should be enough. Should be enough. Damn, I'm conflicted now. I was going to finish that one and raid into Shanna, but Red Rust has started. Fuck it, Red Rust. Oh, Shanna. Fuck. No, Shanna. We'll go to Shanna. Red. Copy here. Copy. Hello. Copy, copy. Hello. Blood kitty. In the view. Yeet. So good. Elliot's back. Sweet. Duster. Capricorn. Oh. It doesn't like. Okay. Stop it. Let us go and say hi to go over to Capricorn and say hello to Shanna Cranky Pants Supermod. Twitch. Oh no, Red is going. What is Red doing? he's doing music. I will raid everyone into Cappy, then I'll go over and say hi to Red. Oh, the history of Hubble. Sweet.
I give you permission to show yourself to me. I know that Stacy had mentioned she does not want to see you, while I am, in fact, the exact opposite. I would love to see you right now. So you have my permission to show yourself. Can you do it? I heard a bump. I don't know what that was. Was that you?